Whether we like the idea of it or not, I suspect most of us can at least agree on the inevitability of AI. Even in the last year, the degree to which the language models have advanced is truly staggering, right? There's a news article every single day about the impact of AI, and it's coming and it's coming. And I think we can all pretty much see that it is indeed here on our doorstep. And so it begs the question, what money will AIs use? Will there be some process to get them traditional bank accounts? How could that be? They have no identity. Or is it more likely that they would pay with internet native money? And is there a solution in place when we think about things like Bitcoin? Today, we're going to talk about the L402 protocol and what that might look like and how it's already gotten started. Let's jump in. This video is made possible by Bitcoin trading cards, and I am pumped to have them as the first sponsor on my channel. I met Aladdin and the team back at Pacific Bitcoin 2022, and I'm not gonna lie, at the time I thought, okay, cool, a quirky little Bitcoin project, but little could I have imagined at the time how this project would capture imaginations. I've personally used these to orange pill people that I care about in my life. The art is stunning and features Bitcoin artists all around the world. You get high quality Bitcoin education on topics like economics and freedom as part of that, which makes this, as you can imagine, a really special project for me. And I'm not gonna lie, it makes you want to collect these. The community behind this is also truly insane. And I think they have a real shot at bringing Bitcoin to the mainstream. So if you're curious to check them out, head over to btc-tc.com where you can find the different series they've launched. And hey, if you do end up snagging some cards, you'll also get some Bitcoin rewards back on your purchase, powered by Jolts. Here's to ripping packs and stacking sats. Now I'm going to start off with some important context and then talk a little bit about how this works before we get into the applications. But I think even if you're like a Bitcoin hodler and you have no interest whatsoever, even in the Lightning Network, even in Bitcoin payments, even in any of it, I still think this is extremely relevant for you in terms of different demand sources for Bitcoin, the asset. So first, just a quick bit of context. It's important for us to understand HTTP, or the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is one of the foundational protocols you use every single day when you access information on the internet. This is how clients, so you and I in our web browsers, let's say, are requesting information from servers or the machines that host the data on the websites that we want to access, again, as an example. And so HTTP is a standard protocol. It has standardized parameters. And interestingly, it has this status code 402. And what that's in reference to, a status code, let's say a client makes a request to a server and they get a response back with some type of status code. What 402 means is that there is some sort of payment that is needed in order to gain access to that resource. Maybe it's, digital content of some kind, whatever it is. And so it's interesting that that status code is in there and has been in there with the anticipation of digital cash and micropayments and things like that. It is not a very often used status code at all today, but it is the framework within the existing internet architecture that the L402 protocol, developed by Lightning Labs, fits in. Shout out to Positive Blue, whose presentation from BTC Prague just a couple weeks ago I am referencing as part of this. He's also building Fewsats, which we will also discuss. But as we can see, the claim here is that, okay, L402, it's this really missing piece in the internet's payment infrastructure. We already have this HTTP 402 payment required status code. How can we plug Bitcoin, specifically Lightning, into that? And so this is how that looks. Again, we have clients and servers sending requests back and forth via HTTP. So client sends an initial access for some sort of a resource. The server says, hey, I need something from you before you can get access. So they're returning some sort of authentication challenge. Hey, client, I need you to complete this. The client is then saying, okay, I got you. Like, here's my response to your challenge. And then if all is well, the server can then release access. And again, the client here could be you and I. The client here, as we also alluded to earlier, could be some sort of an AI agent, maybe tapping into an API that it needs to complete some task. We will talk about those applications in just a moment. So that's kind of the basic structure of what's happening. And then the Lightning specific pieces that map onto each of those steps are a fewfold. So we're using macaroons, which is like a digital bearer token for authentication. This is very good in distributed systems. This is what is used today on the Lightning Network. Like if you're running a Lightning node, you could go and find, your macaroon. The macaroons are what's being used as the credential. Challenge that the server is presenting to the client is a Lightning Network invoice. So it's like, hey, here's the challenge. Like you got to address this challenge by paying it. And then as is a standard for Lightning payments, the proof that the client can provide back is the pre-image proving that they've paid the invoice. And so here on l402.org, we can see like what an actual example of that might look like. So here is the server challenge example, right? Here's the macaroon, here's the invoice. So that server has issued this L402 challenge delivered via the already existing 402 payment required response code. And then upon receiving that, the client can extract that macaroon, pay the Lightning invoice, and deliver the pre-image to construct a response and send that back to the server, who can then grant access to the client. So pretty cool. Again, in a nutshell, we're basically taking these components of Lightning, creating this kind of wrapper and protocol that allows us to plug that into this existing protocol of the internet. Very, very cool. But what's cooler still, of course, are the different companies and builders that are now building real things on this protocol. So let's take a look at a couple examples. One, as I alluded to earlier, is Fewsats. They build themselves as the next-gen serverless platform, enabling you to monetize apps, data, etc. And we can take a look at their different products that they offer. So they have this storage as a service, a Dropbox-like solution that pays you every time your files are downloaded. Relatedly, data as a service, enabling you to essentially monetize your data. This is extremely relevant, right? Because all of the AI large language models are hungry for data. They need data. There's all sorts of bots scraping all sorts of data from any API they possibly can. And last year we saw the likes of like Reddit, Twitter. These are, huge repositories of extremely valuable data start to really kind of close off those walls, because it was like, whoa. This is a very valuable asset that we could, that we could monetize. So Fewsats would provide a solution by which they can do that, and by which you can pay for exactly what you want, what you need. We also have Sulu. Sulu Solutions has launched the beta for its Spark Hub, which is an API marketplace. So yet another great example of where you might want a paywall, right? And today there's all sorts of flavors of API pricing, a lot of which, frankly, suck. And so to their point here, imagine being able to just flexibly and easily pay for only what you need instead of having, what can be upfront costs. This is super helpful for small businesses, individual developers. And so we can see their Spark Hub here at sparkhub.sulu.sh. We can see a handful of APIs that have already been added on here. That is very cool. And so, yeah, if you're a developer or if you're part of a business that, you guys have APIs, like you could monetize them through a solution such as Spark Hub, which basically serves as a marketplace here. And then let's come back to the topic of AI. And we saw a lot of this basically about a year ago when Lightning Labs started rolling out significant pieces of the L402 protocol. We can see in this post from Lalu, the Lightning Labs CTO, today we're releasing a new L402 specification alongside LangChain AI, which give AI agents the ability to use the L402 protocol. There's this other more recent example from Hannah Rosenberg where she is working with a Bitcoin-aware AI and essentially tasking it with going to buy some content on a server enabled all by L402. Super, super cool. And as a final example, there's also OpenAgents, which is, as far as I can tell, like a marketplace for AI agents. So people, you can build AI agents, sell AI agents. There's going to be AI agents for helping you across all sorts of different tasks, helping your business across all sorts of different tasks. And so they're building that platform, also enabled by the L402 protocol, right? Because if we truly believe that Bitcoin is the greatest money ever in the existence of humanity, and I personally do, and I know many of you watching do, why would an AI reach any other conclusion? And it'll be interesting to see, what indeed happens there. And so again, for better or worse, there's a lot of people I know who are like, man, I just want to kind of put my head in the sand and, wish that AI would just sort of go away. But it's not, right? It's not going away. So I think this will be fascinating to see how this plays out. And a lot of people have for quite a while sort of postulated that, use of the Lightning Network, yes, it's for you and I, of course. It's for settling value between businesses. That's looking particularly effective now, as opposed to maybe this last mile payment solution for, me to pay for that cup of coffee, which I've covered in tons of other videos on my channel. But arguably, it makes even more sense for AI agents who, by definition, need a internet native way to pay for things, right? They need data, they need compute, they need things to keep themselves alive, right? And to complete tasks and to do different things. There's also a really interesting kind of intersection starting to emerge with Nostr as a censorship-resistant communication protocol. I recently did a video not too long with the question, is Nostr dead? And we looked at some of the adoption stats, but also some of the flurry of experimentation happening. So regardless, I think, of where you land on the openness and embracing versus aversion to AI, I think it's pretty exciting times nonetheless. It's going to be really interesting to see how all this plays out. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts. What do you think of any of what we've discussed? This idea of AIs using Bitcoin on the Lightning Network. Logical? Far-fetched? Is there other related content you would like to see covered on the channel? Let me know in the comments down below. But I hope you found this valuable and insightful. If you did, you already know what to do. Give this video a like. Use the share feature underneath this video. That really does help get this to a broader audience. And if you were so enamored by this content, you want to donate to a pleb, which really does help me continue to make these videos, you can do so in a number of ways. There's the YouTube Super Thanks feature built directly into YouTube. Or if you want to zip some sats my way, you can do so by sending to my Lightning address, ragermajor@getalby.com. And for those of you that want to get in touch with me one-on-one for consulting, mentorship, I'm now working with a number of clients on all sorts of topics, from taking self-custody, setting up a cold storage wallet, setting up a node, privacy best practices, and more. You can reach out to me at vida.io/IanMajor. But for now, we'll go ahead and leave things here. As a reminder, every sat counts. And until next time, my friends, I'll see you then.